In this video, I will review Area Lens. Area Lens is a mobile-friendly web app that is designed to be your ultimate companion in the home buying journey. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to relocate to a new city or state, Area Lens makes researching your potential new community easy and efficient. First, I'll give you a demo of Area Lens using a mobile phone. Then I will walk you through each of the components that I've used to build this solution: Softr, Airtable, Make.com, and Google Maps. Area Lens is a service that can be enabled on any realtor website. This happens to be my wife's website. She's a licensed realtor in the state of Texas. So let's imagine that you're searching for a property, but you don't know what's in proximity around that property. So we'll go here to find a property of interest. And this is if you're in a local area or if you're moving to an area out of state. So I'll scroll through here and I will find a property that may be of interest to me. So I will select the property. And once it's open, the main thing I want to do is copy the property address. So if you already know the address, no need to go through the property search process. So once I come back here, then we'll go to explore the area. And once this page opens, we will see add property. So once we add the property address, again, you can type it in or paste it in. Either works just fine. And we'll click add. So that takes about a minute or so to process. So there's a lot of work going on in the background. So I will do a screen refresh here and we should see that that property is now available. So all we do is click the panel for that property and it comes back with a lot of information. So primary schools, but you can see the approximate distance. So 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 miles. You can also see shopping centers that are in proximity. Again, the distance from the property address to that shopping center. Different other types of stores. We'll also have medical in terms of hospitals and clinics, police and fire stations as well. We'll soon be updating this to also have dentists and veterinarians as well. Hey, before we jump into the solution details, I would like for you to hit the subscribe button. By subscribing to this channel, you won't miss out on upcoming videos and tutorials. Let's get started with the walkthrough of this solution. I'm using Softr as the no-code web app builder for this website as well as for Area Lens. So here in Softr, you add blocks. So this first block here is a call to action block, and there are 2 action buttons. So the first button, search for homes, would take me to a page called search for homes. The second button is explore the area. So this is the key button that we want to spend some time with. This is going to take me to a page called real estate search. So if I go here to the left and I scroll down to the page, this takes me to where I have another list block. With this list block is where I can list dynamic data. So as we can see, the source for this data is Airtable. There's a base, there's a table, and there's a view that I'm using to display this data. What I make sure here is that I have a conditional filter that filters this to the email address of the logged in user. So if you're logged into the system or to the website, you will only see properties that you've created. And how do we do that? Is we have this action button. So this add property address, here's the details of the button. So the first thing is it takes the address that you supply and it drops it into the address field of the database. The next thing that it does is it changes the search status to start. And we'll talk about that in just a bit when we get into Airtable. And then the final thing it does is it writes in the username, which also copies in the email address of that logged in user that submitted this request. Okay. So if we look at Airtable, here's my Airtable setup. So you'll see an address field, you'll see a user field, you see a search status field, and also an email address field. This email address field is automatically populated when I pull in the logged in user's name. When I look here, I've got 2 options. I've got start and done. Okay. So as we noticed, in Softr, when we submit this add property address, it changes that field to start, which is right here. This is changed to start. So that's a new request that comes in. And why is that important? That lands in a view. So with this view, I make sure that the search status is start. The property address is not empty, so it has to be populated with something. And the email address is not empty, so it has to be the email address of the logged in user that submitted that property search request. And what this does is it's linked to an automation. So this automation triggers when a record enters a view. The view is the start view that we just looked at a little bit earlier. And once that happens, it sends the data over to make.com. So let's take a look at make. So this is the make scenario here. So that data comes in here. And then let me zoom out so you can just see there's quite a bit going on. A lot of this is repeated, so I'll just walk through a few of the core modules. So the first thing we do is with Airtable, we get the record. We use that record ID to pull back a record. We'll then take that record ID and we'll pull in the address that was supplied by Airtable. And we'll use this in Google Maps geocoding to get a latitude and longitude for that given address. The next thing I do is I create a current time, because a module that I'm using a little bit later will require a current time set. And then this hits a router. So let's look at Get Primary School, for example. So this uses the search nearby API. And I come back with the name of the school, the formatted address, and the place's location, which is the latitude and longitude. And all I'm supplying is the latitude and longitude of the original address that was entered. And I'm saying I want to search for primary schools and bring back a count of 5. I've got a radius that I can change. I've got it at 3,000. And then I'm ranking based on distance. So the nearest item should be listed first. This then goes through an iterator. So if there are multiple items discovered here, I'll iterate across all of the items that have been discovered. And then what I do here is I calculate the distance in terms of meters from the entered address to the location address. And then finally, I add it to a variable. Well, I use a text aggregator first to insert all of the names of the schools, the addresses of the schools, and have a formula here to convert meters into miles. And then I add all of that into a variable. And then finally, we write everything into Airtable. So we capture the record ID, we capture the address, and then we write in all of the information that we've captured from all of the different variables. All right, so let's take a moment to walk through a live demo, and we'll see this in action. So the first thing I'll do is, let me set this to run. I'll come here, I'll go to explore the area. While that loads, I'll get a property address. So when I come back to make, we should see this routine fire off in just a second. And there we go. So let's zoom in. So here we see the record ID that was sent via Airtable to make. And we're using a get record. So we're taking that record ID and we're pulling back the full record set for that one record ID. The main thing that we need here is the property address, which is here. Then we take that, we send it to Google Places to get the geocoding rather, to get the Latin long. So it returns the address, but it also returns the latitude and longitude. As discussed earlier, this variable is just setting the current time. And then we have a router, and we'll just walk through one of these. So we'll use primary schools, for example. So what's returned from this module? So we see we've got 5 schools. We have Latin long, we have the address, we have latitude and longitude, and we also have the name of the school. And then that's sent to the iterator. And we can see we got bundles for each one. So the first school with the latitude and longitude, followed by the display name. So to iterate across all of these, and we'll go through the same process, we'll get the distance for each one of them in terms of the distance from that location to the original address that was entered. And then we store everything into this format of the school name, followed by the address, and then followed by the approximate distance. And then we have it in a variable here. And then the last step is we can see everything is now written over to Airtable. So grocery stores, secondary school, primary, middle school. So everything you can see, hospitals, everything is written in to Airtable. I just realized that I did not cover one of the modules. So it's this variable here that I use to set the current time. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding 5 minutes to the current time. So this noun value is the current time as it is plus 5 minutes. The reason that's important is if I look at this particular module here, where I'm using the compute routes API from Google, I have to supply it with a future time. So therefore, I have the current time plus 5 minutes. And then I supply the Latin long of the original entered address, along with the Latin long of the location, be it a school, hospital, or a police department, whatever it may be. And that allows that module to work, or that API to work properly. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this service useful for your business, please leave a comment below or send me an email. If you've enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with friends. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.